Hello and welcome to the Lovejoy Nation podcast. It's episode 11 and we're back again very quickly because there's a lot going on this month. Let's start with what we've been up to since we last spoke. Angie, what have you been up to?
Hey guys. Well, I was just in Chicago a few days ago to see James Marriott, and he puts on one hell of a show. The dude is just super talented. He's a great singer. He's a great frontman, and we had an absolutely awesome time. So it was very fun. Very, very fun. If you ever have the chance, go see him. He's wonderful.
We even got to see you in some official James Marriott social media pics and videos.
Yeah, I was in there a little bit, and then the kiddos that I had with me were in there much more, so that was pretty cool. They were quite excited.
Mm-hmm. That was very cool to see. It was cool to see it on my own without you even showing it to me too.
You didn't stay at the same hotel this time, no?
No, we did not. And that was a good thing because, like I said last time, I felt so awful because we kept bumping into them, and I felt like a stalker, even though we weren't obviously stalking them. I actually apologized last time. I'm like, I promise, we're not stalking you. We're just
camping out.
I don't know what's
We're in
going
the room
on.
next door.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally were in the room next door. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got it. But yeah, and the guy I thought was in a drive-by last time, he was there. Apparently, he's one of their managers.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, we talked to him for a little bit. Super, super nice guy. So yes, we had a very good time.
Very cool.
Good.
And I didn't go to any shows, but I spent money on tickets for let's see, Ed Sheeran. Some of you may be fans of. My daughter looked it up. He's number 6 on the Spotify artists, like number 6 out of all the artists on Spotify. Pretty cool. And I'm also going to a taping on Monday that's like sort of a mystery, so I'll have to tell you more about that later if you want to hear about it. You might just have to.
Cool.
So I'm just waiting for my e-ticket to arrive in my email, but I'm all confirmed. So it's cool. It's convenient to live next to New York City because these fun things happen now and then.
So is it like this top secret thing where you don't know exactly what's going on?
I don't even know where it is yet.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. I'm so excited for you.
I just know it's in New York City and it's an intimate recording for some global something or other. And we're not supposed to wear logos on our shirts. And yeah. And I think they're going to lock up our phones. So I won't be able to take some cool pictures, but we'll see.
Well, I can't wait to hear about that.
I'm psyched. I'm very excited. Picking out my outfit and all that. It's fun. I have to make sure my hair is extra pink because the album is very pink. So I gotta match.
For sure. You got to match your hair to the album. I mean, of course you do.
Of course. Why
Right,
wouldn't
Dave?
you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm matching with the chair at the moment, but yeah.
Very nice. And I think, Dave, you have some gig stories or news or something to tell us as well.
No, not really. I haven't been up to much at all. Just went to some little gig on Wednesday night. Tiny little gig.
Oh, yeah. It was just like in a pub or something, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
O2 in Islington. But other than that, it was nothing special at all. Should we just carry on with the show?
No. We're not letting
We want to hear more.
Yeah.
You want to hear more? What do you want to hear? I went to a little gig. That was it. First of all, before we go any further, thank you so much for your help in getting us tickets. Because if it wasn't for you two, I wouldn't have gone. So thank you from me and my daughter.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much. So anyway, yeah, we went up to the O2 in Islington, London, Wednesday night. What a great show. What a fantastic show. Got there around 6, queued up, had a chat with a load of the crowd, met a few people from Reddit and stuff like that. A few people you know and all that, which was fun.
How many people were there when you got there? And you got there an hour before doors open?
It's hard to judge because obviously the capacity was 250.
Mm-hmm.
Now there was a lot of invited guests, so it's hard to judge. So if I loosely say there was 200 fans and 50 guests, you know what I mean?
I was just wondering, like the queue, like was there a long line by the time you got there? I mean, at a minute there's only 200 about.
I would say we were probably around 100th in the queue.
Okay. Yeah, and I think some people did the old school, showing up at 10 a.m. kind of thing.
Why, I don't know.
And it was interesting when you sent me the pictures or the video because the queue is indoors. Like, I'm not used to that luxury of
No.
an indoor queue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luxuries.
Can you imagine? It's like sitting in a mall. Who cares? Why not be there at 10 a.m.?
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
don't know what you do. You just sort of sit there and
Play Uno, have snacks, talk, make bracelets.
You make bracelets and
Yeah.
But yeah, so
He's like, yeah, whatever.
I could never do that. 6 hours, 7 hours waiting. No. I'd
Well,
be
worth
sound
it, man.
asleep.
If the three of us ever go to a show together, Dave, you're gonna queue early with us. You don't have a choice.
No. I don't mind queuing early, but you'll be saving my place because I'll be going off walking around
Oh
town.
no.
Okay.
No, I don't
then
think so. Nope, you're gonna
people will
stay
yell
right
at
there.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that.
Well, you best bring a sleeping bag because I'm sleeping for 5 hours.
You've slept on concrete before. You could sleep on like a
I can
friggin'
do it
mall
again.
floor.
Right.
So got there about 6. Chatted to a few people in the queue. I had about 18 nuggets with me. Gave out about 15. There was
Nice.
That's
yeah,
cool.
it was quite fun because we had a little sort of game going where there was I gave a couple to the girls in front of me, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, these are really, really cool." And I'm like, "Okay, so who am I giving them to next?" And they were picking people who they thought,
That's cute.
That's
and
fun.
then I gave some to the next sort of people in front of us, and then it was her turn to choose. So, and then I was
like
speaking
that.
to, it was, who should we give them to? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's fun.
And they were given some out and stuff. I was amazed just talking to people in the queue how far they had come.
Where had
Right.
some people come from that were
So,
like, super far?
so bearing in mind the gig was London, I'd come up from Southampton. We had people from Manchester, round that way. We had people from, what do I want to say, Hull. It was somewhere up north again, but the other side of sort of England. Cardiff. And
Wales. Wow.
the one that amazed me was Hungary.
Get the heck out.
Wow.
They had to fly
Hungary.
there?
They started off at 2 a.m. to get flights
Oh, wow.
from Hungary.
That's cool. That's dedication, man.
We know
Nope.
people will come up from Brighton. We know, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
for me, it was I was like, wow, Hungary, all across England and Wales, Scotland, people came to London
That's so cool.
and just for this gig.
Love it.
I was really, really impressed.
It looked like the gig was sort of like how they started out, small pubs, sorts of places. To have that feeling, that vibe.
Absolutely. I love going to a gig when it's a small venue. Yeah, I recently saw Youngblood at 600 venue.
Nice.
Wow.
I love that intimacy because it feels much more personal. It really, really does.
Sure.
And that's how it felt. It was a very small venue and it really felt personal.
I was just gonna say I like what Wilbur said about as far as let's keep it between us at the start of the show. I saw like a little clip of that.
Yeah, I was positioned to the right of the stage, and pretty much anywhere you could get a view, and had a bit of space behind me. And if I kind of looked to my right, you could see the stage door. So Mark come out, fiddled around with his drums, and the door kept opening and closing. Dave was running around, the manager, Buster was running around. The door was opening and closing, and then my daughter said, "Wait for the door to open, you can see Ash." The door open, you can see, yeah, okay. Anyway, they all came out. Hello, we're Lovejoy. And he basically gave a spiel of how chuffed he was to present this to us. And Basically, if you want to film it, but please don't share it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it a secret.
Yeah, that was cool. Like, keep it between us. He goes,
Yeah.
yeah, do it sneakily so I don't see it.
Yeah.
Or I'll come to your house. Did he actually say
Yeah,
that?
he's I'll find out
Yes,
where
he
you live.
actually said, I'll come to your house.
And some of these
And-
kids are probably like, okay, I'm here, I'm filming, look.
Yeah. And all I can think of is Last of the Mohicans. I will find you. So, okay, I know this is a few days on, but I'm pretty chuffed that 99% of people have, let's just say, shared with friends.
Or if they have shared, they're only sharing released songs.
Mhm.
I haven't seen anyone sharing.
Yeah, I have
the
seen a
unknown new
release
stuff.
song because I film stuff.
Mhm.
You've all seen it, but I didn't film everything because I wanted to enjoy the gig too.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know we had a chat beforehand and sort of loosely said you folks didn't really want to see the new stuff because you want to listen to it.
Proper.
And I know I sent a couple of snippets across, and I think there was one or two of the new ones. But I wanted to enjoy the gig as well. What a gig it was. Really, really, really good. It really was good.
Nice.
So, do you have what are your top memorable moments from the show? There must be a few things that stood out from the night. Can you tell us about those?
I'm stood there filming away, and I'm aware somebody was stood behind me.
Mhm.
So I stopped recording and I look behind me, and it's Dave, the manager, stood just over a foot behind me. So I thought, oh, blow it. So I turned around and said hello. And he pointed his finger at me and he went, "You're the guy from the podcast." And I thought, hold on a minute, he's recognised me.
So wild.
And
It's so wild.
so I was, you know what I mean, a little bit gobsmacked, but trying to play it cool. But we had a brief chat, and he actually thanked, I'm going to say us, because he thanked us,
Mhm.
but he thanked you two keeping this community going over the past 18 months.
I can't tell you how much that means to have his acknowledgement and his appreciation for it, because
And that
It's wild.
we always wondered, like
absolutely.
do they notice? Do they like what we're doing?
The special thing for me was he recognized me. Not necessarily by name, but he knew I was the guy from the podcast,
Right.
which
That's
is enough.
so cool.
And the other special thing is that he said thank you to you two. I'm going to say you two. He said us, but I'm going to say you two
Aw.
because you've got the Wiki Queen and the fandom queen. Do you know what I mean? It's
Aw.
That means
nice.
so much. Wow. That just
I
bowled
know, I
me over
can't
when you
even-
told me that.
I know. And do you know what? That was during Perfect Blue. Couldn't tell you for the life of me what Perfect Blue sounds like. Totally missed it.
It was worth it. It sounds like, because
Yep,
you made our
absolutely.
days,
So,
our weeks,
you know,
or I don't know,
If
year and a
you're
half.
saying to me, how did you find Perfect Blue? Couldn't tell you. I heard the beginning and I heard the end.
Aw.
That's it. But he shook my hand twice, and he's got soft skin as well.
Boy.
Well, I hope we get a chance to see him at the shows when we go. I'm
Yeah.
hoping he'll
So-
be hanging around the VIP, like the meet and greet part.
I would love to chat with him briefly. I think it'd be great.
Yeah,
Hear that, Dave? I hope you're listening. We're not creepy.
it's a shame
Promise.
because obviously you are in a concert setting and it's a brief chat
Yeah.
and it is all leaning into each
Right,
other's
right.
ear. You all know
But
what it's
so
like.
meaningful, like those
Yeah,
seconds of chat
absolutely.
for all of us.
Other special moments. The whole gig. One of my favourite songs is Normal People Things. I've never heard that live. My daughter looked at me. I looked at my daughter. The phone went away.
Yeah.
That was it.
Aw.
100%
That's
focus,
so
rocked out,
cool.
absolutely loved it.
That's
Apparently
a
there was
fun
technical
song.
issues during normal people things.
Okay.
Again, couldn't tell you.
Mm-hmm. You just had the best time, it sounds like.
Yeah,
The two of you. That's really
yeah,
special too.
absolutely. Absolutely. It really,
Yes.
the whole night. And because of where I stood, the toilets weren't too far away. And
You can go for a Jimmy
Can't
really
beat
easily.
that.
yeah, they were empty, they were quiet. It was absolutely fantastic.
Nice. Clean.
Clean, perfect. Recommend highly, 5 stars.
Yeah, put that on
review.
your review.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm stood there and these people are walking by and I'm thinking, I know you. Where have I seen you before? I know you. The NOIZIAC boys. And I'm
Oh.
gutted because I didn't chat to them. I so desperately wanted to say thanks, well done.
Aw.
Girlfriends walk by, mums walk by. Do you know
said
what I
you
mean?
saw Benedict Lovejoy.
Yeah. Yovazo, he was
Yep,
there.
Misha.
Misha, that's it.
Nice.
So
That's so cool to see everybody out there supporting them.
Mm-hmm.
they were pretty much all stood at the back. They all had beers in their hands. Do you know what I mean?
That's
Whether
cute.
it was a free bar, who knows, whatever. But to see all wags and faff, wives and girlfriends, friends and family, for those who don't understand, to
No.
see all of them to support the boys, absolutely brilliant.
I love that. And
Really was.
Dave, I'm sure that you may very well catch NOIZIAC at one of the UK gigs. So you might run into them.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know it was Aaron's birthday that night as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
fun.
because
That's a cool celebration.
yeah, well, Will basically said that we all had to sing him happy birthday.
Aw.
So that was kind of a little fun part. But we all started to sing, and I looked round and I could see him in the crowd sticking his fingers up at Will. But we all basically sung happy birthday, and then they moved on.
Yeah.
They were just teasing him. All the new songs, they all sound great. I'm not going to go into too much details. Can't tell you about Perfect Blue. Missed it. But all the new songs, they sound great. Bearing in mind, I've only heard them once
Right.
live,
It's
but
different.
it's different. They all sound fantastic.
I'm so psyched.
What a thrill. What such a special show. You know how, Ange, I said about being at that little tiny acoustic gig?
Yes.
How
Yeah.
special that must be.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of that specialness as well.
Did it almost feel like you were at a party rather than a concert because it was just so small and intimate?
If I'd had a couple of pints inside of me, absolutely. If it had been closer to home,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
might have had a couple of jars. And yeah, it certainly felt that you were sort of like a guest at this celebration.
Yeah, seeing all of the family
Yeah.
and friends there like that. That's
Mhm.
That's so special.
Yeah,
Core memory.
it really was.
Mm-hmm.
It was.
Yeah,
And
for
like I
sure.
say, particularly where I'm stood and all these people are walking by, and
Yeah.
I know you. I've seen your face before.
And now people were asking about merch, but there wasn't merch at this.
No, I think that was the first thing I texted you both, wasn't it? No
Yeah.
merch.
Yes.
Because we walked in and my daughter's like, where are we going to go? And I'm like, go there. Right, stay there. I'll look for the merch. Well, there is none. You didn't have to walk anyway. You just turned around.
Right.
So I was a little disappointed. I really was. Might have been nice. I mean, they could have charged you 50 quid for a T-shirt and I would have bought one. Do you know
There
what I mean?
was something, I guess it was because it was thrown together kind of quickly. I saw that Wilbur was handing out these little papers at the end. It looked like
Yeah,
I saw a
it was,
picture where they were on the stage.
how would you describe it?
VHS
Video?
cover art.
Yeah, VHS cover. Be quite honest with you, as soon as it finished, we legged it.
Yeah, you had to catch a train.
Yeah, we had to be on that train. Otherwise, it was a very expensive taxi ride.
Mm.
So I didn't hang around for those. I know some of the groups of people that I was talking to were like, we're staying behind. Fine. But yeah, they look pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame there wasn't 200 of them to be given out. But
Angie will have some pictures on the wiki if we can find them. I know we've seen a few.
Yes, I think I've got a few messages in my inbox, actually, for people that have pictures. So I will get them up there. They're very creative. Props to whoever made them.
I
Very
think it was
creative.
NOIZIAC, because one of them does feature something about, well, there's 5 stars with NOIZIAC on it.
Okay.
Or Elodie,
okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah. But there's some great tracks coming out. Deathbox was not played. Why? I don't know.
They're either saving it or...
I think they're saving it.
Yeah.
I think so too. I already told you my headcanon. My headcanon is that Deathbox is like this total like heavy metal song, and they wanted to save it so they could blow everybody's socks off. I'm going to choose to believe that, and nobody is going to tell me otherwise until I actually hear it.
Yeah. I'm
going to be Delulu.
I so want Deathbox to be normal people things, much more
Yeah.
rockier,
Yes.
you know? And that's
I have
what...
to ask... Sorry.
Go. No, go.
I have to ask about Monochrome because I know a lot of people are psyched about that one because it's a lengthier song. Did that stand out as like special, unique, like a whoa kind of song? I know, again, you hear it live
It's
once.
quite the crescendo.
Hmm.
Oh,
Interesting.
I know you don't want to give away. And we don't want you to give away
it's
either.
similar to what you've heard, not music-wise. It's a totally different song. But you know how we've sat there and gone, we've heard the chorus, and then the song comes out, and it's like, oh, that's different. So it's very similar to what we've heard.
Okay.
With a crescendo.
Oh, okay. Oh, and speaking of crescendo, the one thing I noticed was that usually they end their shows with the fall because it's so powerful, and they ended with a new song, Scoundrels, this time. So I thought if they're ending with that, then that must be like a pretty intense song.
Yeah. So difficult because I've done over the
How
past
do you describe a song?
Yeah, exactly. But this morning, last night, I've listened to the videos, and it's a great song. You need to hear it. I'm not going to give anything away, but you do need to hear it.
All right. With that, thank you, Dave, for being our eyes and ears at the gig and for filling us all in and keeping us staring at our phones all night more than we usually do. Well, I'd like to welcome to our podcast Youssef Kdiry, old friend of mine from back in the day. God, what was it, 20 years ago? We worked at HBO. Youssef, or as my mom used to call him, Yahoo.
Yeah. God bless.
Thank you. I'd say, is it rude to say armchair movie critic, movie reviewer? Because you've done this for so long, website with reviews, and I think that was part of your gig at HBO.
Yes, yeah. I mean, armchair is perfectly fine. I wasn't doing splits on the tables, on the chairs, at the theaters. But yeah. Essentially, what's taken over is the internet today. With everybody having a computer or a phone and a voice, all of a sudden everybody thinks they're a critic. They're really more reviewers than anything else. I'm actually a critic and a reviewer. They're similar, but they're not the same. Criticism is where we break down the movies and look into the themes and historical aspects and stuff. But I mean, as a graduate of 3 film schools and now a professor, adjunct part-time professor, I like to think that I don't want to say with the younger generations, because I'm a lot older, but I bring more of that history and understanding of how things work industry-wise, as well as in front of the camera, behind the camera, and such. And that spreads into things like music videos. I took notes, and basically, it's still a sacred thing for me going to the movies. It's like going to church, and the sacraments for me are popcorn and my soda, and my junior mints on occasion. Don't tell my doctor, okay? But
Yes, junior mint.
yes, junior mints. But I take it very seriously, and I'm happy to be here.
I'm I'm glad to
Thank you.
have you here. I thought that you might be able to be an interesting voice as
Sure.
someone that's probably never heard the band Lovejoy and definitely hasn't seen any of their music videos. And I thought since these 3 music videos for With Rob as My Witness, Pay and Display, and Common Touch that are meant to sort of be a trilogy, it would be interesting to get your take as like fresh eyes on it, fresh ears.
I've been a fan for exactly 4 days, and they're now on my Spotify list. Yeah,
Aw.
listen, I'm always on the lookout for new music and stuff because I love music. I'm not a musician. I mean, I can barely play the triangle. That's as far as I go. But I'm a dancer and a hell of a karaoke singer, by the way. Karaoke king in New Jersey back in the '90s. And
Nice.
but I have an ear for the music, especially when I'm editing. I know what I want to use and such. And I will say this much: having delved into Lovejoy for the past couple of days after Leslie asked me to join the podcast, I took a lot of notes. And basically, I got to say, I'm very impressed with what I've seen so far. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
So, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but I did take my notes, so I'm ready to rock and roll. No pun intended when you are.
All right. Oh, and just so you know, since they're on their Spotify playlist, be on the lookout for Friday, October 3rd. Their official debut full-length album is being released.
Yes.
These 3 songs are from.
Yeah. No, listen, I'll be honest with you and I confess ignorance, and it's okay to confess ignorance when you don't know something. Like I don't know much about childbirth because I never did it, but I have an idea how it works, But it's the same thing with Lovejoy. I got myself immersed, and basically like when I watch a movie or I do a review or I'm writing a script, basically I want to immerse myself in method, analysis, and research.
Wow.
So I got myself involved in reading up on this.
Nice.
And these guys are, they are wonderful. In fact, I'm jealous because they're young and full of energy like I used to be. And cranky old man shaking my fist at the skies, cursing the gods. But it's nice to see that the young generations, have picked up the mantle of, and I referenced them as saying, and I hope I'm not off base here by saying basically a modern mix of Green Day and Electric Six. And that's kind of how I get out of it. If I'm wrong, please let me know.
I don't know Electric Six, but when trying to sell Lovejoy to my best friend, I said, "You love Green Day. You'll love these guys. They're fun like that."
Electric Six is a lot of fun. I highly recommend them. They've been around for about 25, 30 years.
Dave knows.
What's the Electric Six song? What's the big one they had?
One of them is a synthesizer. Another one is, which one's a Fire in a Disco? What's it called? Oh my God, I'm on the spot.
High Voltage?
High Voltage, thank you. High Voltage is their big song. And the remake of Radio Gaga by Queen. And let me tell you something. I recommend these guys are out of time. They are so funny and very entertaining.
Oh,
when I hear they're fantastic. Electric Six, 2 words. When I hear Lovejoy, it evokes that feeling of 20, 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago. I mean, Green Day's back in, I was still in college when Green Day came around. And it evokes that feeling of nostalgia because they weren't grunge. They are, I think what Wikipedia here they call it indie pop. I'm sorry, indie rock, pop punk. And pop punk, I think, is more accurate because when I think of indie rock, I think of more garage bands, from the 90s and 2000s, such. But pop punk I like because it really, I can't say the Sex Pistols with a nod to Dave and that heritage, but they're not as dangerous as the Sex Pistols. So
for me, pop punk is an American term.
They say alternative a lot
too. This is your Green Days, your... Yes, sir. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Whereas obviously Pistols were punk.
Yeah. The Clash.
Yeah. And going back to the reminiscent times of... I loved a band, or I still do, love a band called The Wedding Present.
Okay.
And this is how Lovejoy kind of affected me. When I was 17, 18, fell in love with The Wedding Present. and Lovejoy have done the same thing again at 50 years old. They've
Are they
made
still
me
around, the
feel
Wedding
like that
Present?
again.
Yeah,
they still
they just
around?
played Brooklyn.
All right,
Not
I'll
too
look them
long
up.
Yeah.
I'll look them up.
I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I like your analysis on their sound, because for me personally, I know a lot of times they are described as indie rock, but to me they don't feel like indie rock. To me, indie rock
Right.
is something different,
Right.
and it's not really Lovejoy. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that you said that. I know that they actually call themselves indie rock, and a lot of people classify them as indie rock, but to me it doesn't feel like indie rock. I would agree with you that it does feel more pop punk, even though, like Dave said,
Yeah.
that's probably more of a US term.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
we have a genre, and it's
Mhm.
called indie jangle pop.
Hmm.
Now, if you think
Never
about
heard
the
that.
guitars, how they jangle, that's where that's come from. If you listen to The Wedding Present,
Hmm.
the Smiths were supposed to be indie
Yeah.
jangle pop.
Hmm.
So for me, Lovejoy a jangle.
Because I
Interesting.
see them as, they say alternative a lot too. They're actually
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
alternative charts and Alt
Yeah.
Nation as well.
Indie alternative.
I see.
Um,
So it's like,
Yeah.
because REM is something
Same
like
sort
I
of
think
thing,
is
yeah.
alternative. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you mention, so Dave, when you mention the Smiths, Morrissey, he is a very talented singer and artist and
Yeah.
composer. But as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, they were part of the British New Wave. The
Yeah.
British New Wave, the second British wave, British New Wave, much akin to, let's say, ABC and Ultravox, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm showing my age and I'm showing my love for British New Wave. you know, these other groups that came up around that time. Lovejoy evokes some of that, although they got a very heavy bass line from what I could tell. And again, I'm not an expert, but they're very catchy and very, what is the word? And the gentleman, Wilbur, I think his name is William, his real name is.
So yeah.
Very smooth vocals, and
Mhm.
it's easy to listen to, even for us old timers. I could sit there and
Mhm.
enjoy it, because the generations before us didn't like our MTV music. They wanted Frank Sinatra and Johnny Mathis, and such. But this generation, new group here, like Lovejoy, I can listen to them a lot because they're very, very energetic and very smooth, and I like
Good
that.
bop.
I love what you just
I like
said.
that. To see him dance yet.
Mm. Somebody
Yeah.
put it on YouTube. Don't worry. So I wish nothing but the best for Lovejoy because they got the talent.
So the music videos came out of order. The songs came out of order.
Mhm.
But I think I told you the order that they're intended to be sort of
Yes.
watched in, sort of like Star Wars did to us, right?
Yes.
So I think we decided that Common Touch
Hmm.
is meant to be the first
Yes.
of the three.
That's what I have in my notes.
Am I right,
Absolutely.
Dave and Angie? I always have to check myself on
Yes.
that. So if there's any just takes you had on watching that or interpretations, we like to talk about interpretations a lot,
Sure.
what we think is going on in the videos.
So with Common Touch, again, very hip, very energetic. I really enjoyed it. They're my new favorite band now. I pushed Tom Jones out of my Spotify list, and now Lovejoy's in there. Sorry,
Amazing.
Tom, but he's Welsh. It's okay.
It's about
So-
time.
Right, exactly. Right. It's not unusual. But that being said, with Come and Touch, the video. All right, so the song, very catchy, very entertaining. It's short, it's quick, very radio friendly. If anybody actually listens to the radio anymore, which they don't, because my kids at school, they don't listen to the radio. They don't even know what a radio is. Okay. So they call me grandpa, so stop listening to the radio. Now everything is Spotify or Apple Music or Pandora or Twitter, Twatter, or whatever. I don't know whatever these kids listen to today. Okay. So very much for the music video, very much a retro TV feel. So I like the low style graphics, which by the way is not as easy as you think it is putting it together. It actually takes work to denigrate and degrade the visual schema. So my hats off to them on that.
Interesting.
And I'm sure, and I know you've seen the video 100 times, so I'll just dig into it. There are two elements to the cinematography which I enjoy. Of course, there's the retro style commercial, late night television commercial aesthetic to it, which I thought was really cool. And the editing is phenomenal. As an editor, I will say the editing certainly matches the beats per minute of the song, which is fantastic.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, but also the actually lensed portions of it very much have a horror style quality to them, and a giallo. Now, giallo, if you know what giallo is, it's the Italian horror crime, well, really more crime thrillers of the 60s and 70s. A lot of Dario Argento red, lensing and filters and stuff. And they bounced back and forth with this first video and that with the retro ads, which I thought was very nice. I presented in a 16:9 aspect ratio, which is normal for digital now. And again, a very erratic editing style, but what I liked about it was it matched the beats. It didn't feel offsetting. One of the projects I have my digital video students do is to put a music video together with a favorite song of theirs, and then they have to put together images and photos or whatever they want to do to match the song. So this plays right into what I teach, because the music has to, the editing has to match the music. I mean, if you're listening to, a waltz by whoever, it's got to have a certain editing style. But with Lovejoy, very, frenetic, very exciting, very energy. But again, also, we live in an ADHD world today where things are boom, 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 boom. So it's not something I would recommend elderly people to watch. They'll probably get go into a convulsion or something. Right, exactly, a seizure. But again, with this one, the elements work very, very well. So
I could see that though. Sometimes I want to wait, hold that, make it clearer for me. I want to see what's happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or you gotta play it on YouTube. You gotta play it at 0.75 speed to slow it down a bit.
Okay.
Take
a note.
I'm not there yet, and I can still enjoy this kind of style of. But again, I mean, very well put together. The song is very catchy. Yeah, that's my thought on Common Touch.
What did you think about the character that Wilbur plays in the chair, watching these shows and watching them all scrambly and?
It evoked a very old music video by Billy Joel called Pressure, where he's sitting in a chair watching a screen, and he's, jerking around here and all that and stuff.
That's right.
And it was kind of evoking a little bit of that also. And again, as I tell my students, listen, whatever you're going to think of was already done 80 years ago. So once you get past that hurdle, once you pass that hurdle, you're going to be just fine. You do whatever you want, make it better. But you're not going to reinvent the wheel. Okay, it's been done already, and it's the same thing. Like, you watch this video and you go, oh, I remember that from this movie, or I remember it from that music video. And what you just said evoked to me Pressure by Billy Joel,
right?
Or,
Help but think of Howard Hughes when he was sitting in that chair. I'm like, this is so Howard Hughes coded. It just looks like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Where he's just becoming one with the chair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it just, it had those horror, I mean, not as much as the next video, but it had as much as that horror element to it, basically just based on the cinematography, a lot of reds, a little bit of turquoise or greens or blues, kind of mixed in. And it sets the tone for what kind of theme they're going for. And that's what I got out of it personally. So,
okay.
If that helps. Yeah.
Cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
Then next
I love that.
We had pay and display. And Youssef, are you familiar with the term pay and display or what that means? It's not just it's more of an English thing, I think. We do it here, but we don't call it. I try to
keep it clean here. Let me see.
Okay.
When I used to do my Magic Mike stuff back in the day, a pay and display. No, okay. So in terms of the English or British, and I apologize if I mixed that up. I know I'm trying to be proper
politically
here.
correct.
To me, British and English is the same thing, but I'm from New Jersey, and I'm not dragging my knuckles in the ground still. But I don't know what it means in Dave's region. If you can explain it to me, I'd be very grateful.
Basically, if you go into a parking lot, and then you have to pay money to park in that space. So you'd put your money in a machine and they'd give you a ticket, and you display. The rule is you display your ticket on your dashboard.
Yes.
So you pay and display.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's a very interesting play on words, because to me, pay and display means I take my clothes off for money and Magic Mike style. So, but that was a long time ago. Anyway, but very interesting because from what I can tell, I'm going to assume it's in an elevator. I guess it takes place in a garage. Is that what I'm getting a sense of?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Like a parking garage with an elevator.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Now,
Oh, that makes sense though, right?
very interesting setup because
It could.
this one, very different, shot 4:3 aspect ratio, basically almost a square, so very confined. Okay, and from what I'm getting from what Dave is saying, it sounds like it's supposed to take place in a parking garage elevator, But every time that door opens, it's nothing but infinite blackness, and I find that very fascinating because once again, the horror elements come out of it. What's going to come out of the darkness?
Right.
Wilbur's in an elevator, basically with more and more people coming in. And, when you're in an elevator, you're in a very confined space. It's very uncomfortable. Then people come in. This guy comes in with a side of beef or pork or whatever it is. It gets even weirder. And for some reason, it evoked a very funny scene in the Marx Brothers movie. I think it was I'm trying to remember which one, when they're in the cruise ship and everybody
You're
gets
really
in the.
dating yourself.
Yeah, I know. This is my 14th lifetime. Bear with me. Everybody's getting crowded in this room until it finally pops open, and that's what I was getting. That more and more people were getting in the elevator, and that's in and of itself a horror because you don't want to get stuck in with guy smoking and a side of beef or pork or whatever that is, and again, people just coming in from the dark. So again, very much a lot of elements of Dario Argento and horror giallo mixed in with this also. But again, the aspect ratio being 4:3 compresses the image and really makes it more claustrophobic, which is I found very interesting. Yeah. So
I like that.
Thank you.
You've pointed out things I hadn't even thought of, that they come in from the darkness. I didn't even catch that. And then the parking garage makes sense for other things we've seen, like in Rob, right? Because the dwelling outside that little model building. Doesn't it look like a parking garage, Dave? You're looking confused at me.
That was the next video.
Yeah.
Like they're all coming in from being in town from their various things, right?
Yeah. It could be.
Or an apartment. I thought apartment
parking garage. It leaves it open for interpretation because you can't tell what's around.
Well, then.
But when you look at all three videos, has he gone into the basement and then goes on to the Rob video, or he could well be in a parking garage? Yeah. He's certainly not on a floor with front doors,
No.
You know what I mean? He hasn't got out the lift and going to a house. So it could well be the parking garage. And then is Rob one of these areas in the parking lot where it's all
residents only building? Yeah, so that's a whole other music video.
Yeah,
I never even thought about that.
I thought an interesting thing, I brought this up the last episode, but I wanted to get Youssef's take was, I'm always attributing this to someone on Reddit, I should have their name, suggested the idea that everyone in the elevator represents one of the 7 deadly sins. And I thought that was like genius.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
Because if you look at each character.
I could see that.
I didn't know if you picked up on that, or I think that makes sense.
No, not really. But as I'm starting to think about it, and the hamster in my head is starting to spin more and more, I can definitely see that. I mean, I can see the gentleman with the cigarette smoking and basically as being excess or gluttony or whatever. I mean, there are things you can definitely pull out of it.
It could be gluttony.
The meat could be gluttony, right, exactly. I think when we get to the next video, to be honest with you, with Rob as my witness, potentially could be the very bottom of that elevator. That last floor could be hell once we get talking about it.
Right,
talked about that.
And Angie's favorite part in Pay and Display, when all hell breaks loose, or should I say the elevator?
Right, exactly. And that's the thing. The thing about that elevator sequence in Pay and Display, there's a shot where it's an extreme long shot, and you see nothing blackness or darkness but the elevator.
Yeah,
and
right.
The question is it on a journey to hell? Now, hell can be a different thing for different people. Every religion has a different idea of hell. Mine is getting stuck in traffic on the highway. That's hell. But everybody's different. The conception of hell. So this journey to maybe is a journey to hell. I mean, again, Dave, I think unlocked it for me when he said this Pay and Display means a garage. I'm like, okay, the garage is a metaphor for Dante's multi-levels of hell.
Oh my gosh. I never thought about that. But
I just thought of
we
it.
have we have touched on the whole concept of maybe it is going to hell. So I'm really
Yeah.
pleased that you caught on to that too, because that's
Yeah.
something we've tossed around quite a bit.
Yeah, when it turns red and it says on the
Yeah.
screen that was showing the numbers, it says what Angie can say that I can't.
Shit. That
Didn't you love that, Youssef? Is
That's
that like
funny.
the best? That is funny, right?
it's
I like
hilarious.
that. Well, again, when we get to the third video, there'll be more thoughts on that. But like I said, I did take the notes. But again, pay and display, if you want to have this trilogy, basically is the middle portion of the trilogy. As in with any trilogy in any movie or anything, the middle is really the bridge between the beginning and the end. Okay, and I know it sounds self-explanatory, but if you look at something like Empire Strikes Back can stand on its own as a masterpiece, right? But it's also the middle portion of a trilogy, right? So if we are doing this commuting, okay, all the commuting is being done in pay and display. Essentially, we are descending downwards, okay? I don't want to sound metaphysical about this, I'm not a philosopher,
No,
but,
we like that.
a fortune cookie philosophy says X, Y, and Z. But as I'm hearing more and more of it, and again, thanks to Dave really unlocking that term, really, I mean, and if you've been in a garage, and I have one here where I live in my area, I park in a public garage, and at school, we have a public garage, and it's a dump. I mean, you don't want to touch anything because it's in Paterson, New Jersey. It's like being in Brixton, I guess, if I could say, Dave. And Brixton is still not a nice area, from what I understand. I'm not sure, but you get the idea. Basically, it's hell trying to walk into, and never mind going into the elevator. I tell my students, do not go into the elevator.
Never.
Never.
No.
Okay?
No,
No,
we have multi-story car parks,
yes.
all on
Sort of
different levels.
Right.
You go up the stairs,
Yeah.
you don't touch the railings.
Exactly.
You don't touch a door with your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You just kick that door open, you walk up the middle of the flight of stairs, you don't touch a thing. You certainly wouldn't go in a lift.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Not with
no,
the
you're right.
side
So,
beef.
yeah.
Yeah, same here. Now, believe me. Now, the one we have here in my town here, they're very clean, very well kept. But when you go by school, because it's in a very urban area, I mean, literally the crud will attack you and devour you. So it's one of those things where, you just fossy your way up and down the stairs, and I tell my students, look, if you see me and walk with me, take the stairs, please. Do not take the elevator. I want to see you in class. Okay, because again, you might end up in Lovejoy's hell, at this rate. So
whenever I travel anywhere by car, like if I'm going to a show with my daughter, I will do anything to avoid parking in one of those because it terrifies me.
Yes.
Not just going in during the day, but even at night, it's even worse. And if you're in a big city, it's like, nope. I will pay for valet parking rather than do that. It's scary.
Yeah, nothing good ever happens in a parking garage, But again, we have them here, and it's good because we needed the space, but they're so well maintained. And for myself personally, I'm not cavalier, but being a 12th degree black belt in my martial arts of no can do, I am not worried. I trained for many years, but I'm kind of retired. I don't like getting kicked in the face anymore, so it's no fun. But I trained for many years. Yeah.
Are you really a 12th degree?
No. It's in my style. I made it up. It's called no can do. It's my style.
Oh.
No, but I did train for a lot. I did train for a lot of years.
Got you.
Holy shit! My daughter is a 2nd degree, and I was gonna be like, whoa.
Yeah, there's no 12th degree. If you hear that, it's all bullshito, as they call it. That's the new term now.
I was gonna say, I think it goes up.
As of this minute, it's the new term.
Right, exactly. But
second.
we coming back to Lovejoy and their video again. It just gives you a hellish display, of this elevator to nowhere in darkness. The the analogies are so very powerful. The visual schema, very powerful and very relatable, and that their songs are so easy to digest. And I think that's a good thing.
With Rob Is My Witness, which is the song and music video that came out first out of the 3, but is the final in this trilogy. We want to hear what you have to say.
Yes, thank you.
Alrighty.
With Rob
With
as
Rob
my
as my
witness.
witness. Yes. Okay. All right. So, very interesting. This one I found to be the most cinematic of them all. Basically, in a widescreen, a 2.0 aspect ratio, little black bars at the top and the bottom, denotes it as more of a cinematic kind of piece. Fight Club kind of inspired me. Fight Club, very
Mhm.
much so. I'm thinking now, connecting it with what we've talked about in the last two videos. This is probably the bottom level, probably Dante's Inferno, basically the lowest level, hell. And I backed that up with basically the cinematography being Aurum style, basically gold tinged lighting and filters,
Hmm.
evoking this sense of, I would say, fire.
Mm.
So in the Christian and Catholic religions and stuff, fire being hell. Okay, not really. I've been to hell, and it's not a big deal. That's another story. But very much a combination of this Aurum styled, gold style lighting and lensing mixed in with this industrial, cold blue gray look to it that really evokes a very cinematic style. And I'm thinking this is the most stylish of them all. Of course, kinetic editing naturally, and Will getting his butt kicked in. Basically, what looks like a casino and could be representing demons. At the craps
Hmm.
table or the cards table or whatever they're playing. Very much Atlantic City style. For us Jerseyites.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the most cinematic of them all, and again, this widescreen look to it, very cinematic. So my credit goes to the folks that put these things together. NOIZIAC, if I'm reading it correctly.
NOIZIAC.
Mhm.
Yep,
NOIZIAC. Yeah,
they did Pay and Display,
yeah,
and with Rob as my witness.
yeah. And again,
Yep.
my hat's off to them too for really putting together, a very visual style that I think is more of an improvement over what I've seen in the past 15 to 20 years. This at least has a
Mm.
theme
Mhm.
that I think works very well. And then when you put them together, yeah, I'm going to say this journey into Dante's Inferno. And that's what I'm getting out of it now that we're talking about it, and it's working its way through my head. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was their best video of and I like them all, but I think this last one I think was my favorite. I should say, not the best. I'd say my favorite.
It's my favorite as well.
Yeah.
I like all the different sort of stories that are happening
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, and the kid can take a punch apparently, so I guess that's good too. So, but again, I mean, very visually stimulating in terms of the look to it. And again, that gold tinge to it really just tells me that this is hell, if
Mm.
anything. And again, everybody's vision of hell is very different. So, yeah. So I
Yeah,
enjoyed
I
it.
think that the filmmakers had said on Instagram somewhere, or maybe it was in an article,
Mhm.
about how it's meant to be like he's getting everything thrown at him in
Mhm.
an overwhelming way,
Yeah.
and is sort of expected to be able to act without thinking and be successful. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden be very good at poker or be able to handle a boxing match. And I just love all those moments with the lights popping up on him and blinding him for a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's intense and it's very entertaining, and it's a true little mini movie, I feel like.
Makes me wonder too, because after he gets beat up and they're dragging him away or whatever, it's like, okay, what's next? Is there
Mm.
something else waiting for him? Because like you said, he basically gets a losing hand at poker. I mean, he doesn't know how to play, right? I mean, he
Right.
looks like he's just like,
I'm
whatever.
wearing
I'm
these
just gonna
clothes. Like, what is
right.
this?
Yeah. So it's like, what's next? Is it just going to keep going and going and going? If
Yeah,
that would be
what,
hell.
Yeah, what will he face next? Yeah,
Right.
true.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I'm
I
sorry.
think
Go ahead.
it's a thing about fame. It could be an allegory to fame. This
Mm-hmm.
the success that they're going to have or they're having could be a little intense for a lot of people. Especially when they're not prepared for it. And
Right.
how you navigate that new lifestyle, that new level you've attained. A lot of these artists or filmmakers or whatever, they're like, I'm not interested in fame and fortune, and I just want to do my art. Yeah, baloney. Everybody wants to make a buck, and everybody wants to be in front of the camera. In the end, we are human beings. We're vain creatures, and how we handle that success is what defines us as people. People like Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise or some of these other people who've been around a very long time in front of a camera don't react to, photographs going off in their face. They're used to it. So maybe this young man in this video is just basically trying to adapt to a new lifestyle, to a new level, and that could be an allegory for that too. Again, I think they're in hell, and maybe that's his hell.Maybe he's not prepared. The character, maybe he's not prepared for all the things that are coming his way because the talent is finally coming through. I mean, that's my take.
What do you think about the ending where it's like that blue figure sort of like jumps off at the end? People have different interpretations of that and what that means. Is that
it's like kind of a graphic of a building and then on the cliff and whatever, and then jumping off. It could be, he's just getting out of it. Could be, could be interpreted as a lot of things. Maybe he just got fed up, he got tired. Maybe they threw him out. I don't know. It's really the filmmakers or the artists will tell you what it means. In the end, when it comes to interpretation of things, of art, you can have your opinion on it, but ultimately it's the artist or the filmmaker that'll tell you this is what I was thinking because they made it.
Right.
If you talk to Leonardo da Vinci and you ask him, hey, Leo, what's Mona Lisa smiling about? And he'll tell you, hey, it's up to you to decide, but here's what I think, and he'll tell you what he thinks. And you're going, yeah, okay, you did it. It's your interpretation. It's really up to the artists and the filmmakers.
I don't think we'll ever know for sure what it means 100% or who Rob is. We're always still trying to figure out who Rob is.
Right.
There's hints to it, residence only building, and it's like in place of God, but in the song it's like in place of God. Rob's your only witness, God's your only, so
Right.
I don't know if you had a feeling on that or what any of that meant, or if you didn't get really into the lyricism of it.
No, not as much. I've listened to them a few times and I've watched the videos a whole bunch of times. But again, I'm so overwhelmed by the amazing visuals, the whole schema, that I'd have to go back and listen to the lyrics again and really pay attention. I was too much busy. I was busy enjoying the music. I was enjoying the music
No,
videos.
I'm glad you did too.
And it's one of those things where I'd have to go back now and start writing or getting the lyrics and then start really analyzing them. So what you come up with and what I come up with, what Dave and Angie come up with, could be different interpretations, could be the same thing in the end. We know that water's wet. We just don't know why.
Well, it's refreshing to hear your take on it. We've been like bouncing these ideas and thoughts around like a ping pong ball, and it's great to get like a quote unquote outsider's take.
Yeah.
I wanted to give credit where credit's due because I know we mentioned NOIZIAC as the producers, directors of Pay and Display and With Rob as My Witness, whereas Common Touch production company is IDK UK Unlimited. The director and editor is Elodie Grenville. Elodie is a longtime friend, photographer, videographer, editor of the band and Wilbur. And so this is cool. This is sort of like, she's done a lot of big projects for them, but this I think is the biggest. And so it's super exciting. And it's exciting that you enjoyed it so much, knowing that this is like her baby. And we're proud of her for our own reasons on the outside.
Yeah, no, the editing was, I was impressed with the editing. Again, it's one of my fortes is editing.
Right. And that was always hers. So that's neat.
And that's the thing. It harkens back to the old days of Hollywood. The women were the editors back in the old days of Hollywood. Women were mostly exclusively editors up until a certain point. But there are a lot of there were famous, and there are famous female editors to this day, and again, I was very impressed with how clean and how exciting and how jagged it could be, the editing, but it propelled the story forward and it matched the music, which I think is very important.
Those are all awesome points that I hope she hears this.
No, absolutely. My hat's off.
I think she'd appreciate it.
This young lady, because again, there's hope for the future. And what I preach in my classes and what I do for myself is, I make sure to, match the editing to the music style.
I thought it was interesting that you said that they had employed some techniques that were used in horror because, and I don't know if you've seen the art for the singles, but they're very much, they kind of evoke an analog horror type of feel. When somebody had asked one of the band members what the album was going to be like, his reply was scary. So I thought it was really interesting that you said there were some horror techniques involved in those videos.
Oh, very much so.
Kind of lines up.
Yeah, very much so. I mean,
Yeah.
in a running thread through all the videos is, I mean, again, this use of the giallo style, the Italian crime thriller, very much Dario Argento. If you're familiar with Suspiria, it's his most famous movie from 1977, and it's a lot of gels, reds and blues and yellows, and it evokes a certain feeling. So, for example, red it will invoke horror, or
Okay.
it'll invoke hell, or it'll invoke, when you see something blue, it's more placid. James Cameron uses a lot of
Mm-hmm.
blue, and I asked him when I
Sure.
interviewed him about the blue filter, and he says it's very calming, like water, things like that. If you use green, it's usually, envy, or jealousy. So the use of these gels in the way, and I'm going to assume they were all shot on video, as most things are today, unfortunately. You mentioned analog. I find that very interesting because film is technically analog format, whereas digital is electronic. Very different feel. But the way
Mm-hmm.
they shot these music videos with the use of proper lensing and the proper use of filters gives it a very analog horror feel, much to what Angie is saying. And I can concur with that completely. Again, they stand out because they're so well put together. From a filmmaking standpoint, what I see is the use of aspect ratio, the use of filters, the use of slanted camera angles. When we call a Dutch angle, or a slanted angle, we are basically saying to the audience, this is an altered reality, okay? Because we don't all walk around like this. We walk around like this.
Mm-hmm.
So when you alter the plane, right, the x-axis, y-axis, as we call it, you are now essentially, you are warping reality. And that's what that means.
Hmm.
This is all very fascinating. I
This
feel like we
I
just took
was
your
just
class, you said.
gonna
You all
say
passed.
this. I love this, and it's so nice to hear from somebody that knows what they're talking about, unlike us, to
Right.
that you enjoyed the videos and you thought they were well done, because of
Yes.
course we love them because we're fans and we're
Yeah.
also extremely biased. So
Right.
Yeah.
to hear that from you is
Yeah.
really interesting
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
really great.
I love movies. Movies are and Leslie will tell you, movies are my life, okay? But that does not mean that I cannot break them down or attack them or praise them when I have to. It's good to be fans, but you need to maintain a certain level of objectivity to propel
Mm-hmm.
the next levels for what you endear yourself to. It's important to have that objectivity as well as the subjectivity to be able to say, listen, here's where I think they're great. Here's where I think they need to improve. Here's what they should do next. Here's what, what we
Mm-hmm.
think would work for them. Now, of course, they're going to know themselves. They're their band. They're going to know what's best for themselves. The Beatles, up until 1967, the Beatles were, or 60, yeah, around there, they were very clean cut, well dressed young men. That's because their
Mm-hmm.
manager, Brian Epstein, right, had a certain look for them. You all wore suits. You kept your hairs nice and neat. When he committed suicide and passed away, unfortunately, in 67, they took control of their destiny and totally changed their look, their music, their style, right? Bands will grow. Now, they've been around from 2021, from what I'm seeing, if I'm not mistaken, right? They're still a young band, right? They're going to continue to evolve their identity. We all have to. Okay. I know Leslie for many, many years, but Leslie today is not the Leslie I first met, back in the day. She's grown. She's a mom. She's a wife. She's got pink hair. She's changed. I'm not
I'm
the
only
same.
getting better.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
getting
no, you're
better.
getting, you're a lovely young lady still. Okay. I mean, I've evolved. I'm now a grumpy old man. I'm in my 50s and I'm halfway to, retirement. But we will continue to evolve as the band, and I call it your band because you love them so much, and I'm becoming a fan.
We call it our band. I'll
Right.
tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh, that's my band."
Right, exactly. It's your band. It's Lovejoy and Leslie, right? So
Yep.
they will
You and
evolve
Skippy.
and they will grow.
I urge you to watch their older videos and their older stuff
Okay.
because you'll see that they've very much evolved, actually.
All right, yeah.
So in just this little span of time.
Well, again, when you have no money to work with and you're shooting in your garage, okay, it's one thing. But you start to build a reputation, you start to build an agency, you start to develop a budget, production design and values go up. Okay.
When Warner Records takes you under their wing.
Warner
that
Records, yeah,
helps too.
exactly. Now, I mean, I can shoot TikTok videos in my closet, and that's great. Now, Warner Brothers comes around and say, "Look, here's a budget for your first movie." Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'll sign the deal with that devil and take it, of course. But again, the vision will not change. That's what I hope for these young gentlemen, because they're very impressive. But I think this group, Lovejoy, I think they got a lot ahead of them, and I hope nothing for the best for them. So,
Thanks, Youssef.
yeah, you're welcome.
This
Thank
has been
you.
amazing, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I've heard these two go on about their theories, and to sit here and listen to what you've said, I know I haven't been exactly vocal, but it's been a real eye-opener on the way and a bit more the detail you've gone into it. So, yeah, thank you very much.
I'm very grateful. I'm very happy to be here. It's anything for Leslie. It was a real pleasure to talk to you nice people, and Leslie
All right.
and other nice
Well,
people.
maybe we'll talk to you soon, and I think you have 2
Anytime.
more fans.
Yeah, anytime. I'll be watching more of their stuff and getting into some of the other things that you had mentioned. Thank you. It was a real pleasure to meet you, and Leslie, to see you again after so long. And anything else you need, I'm everywhere.
Did you say you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do. I have Youssef Verse, Youssef Verse, like universe, because I'm very conceited. And Moonstar Film Reviews is my upcoming movie review channel that I finally launched, and I'm starting to get things going. So,
Okay.
and the Moonstar Film Odyssey is my production company, and hopefully I'll be turning out those $60 million hits eventually. So we'll see what happens. But thank you.
All right.
Yes.
All right. We'll
And
be there.
Thank you kindly. Nice
Thank
to
you
meet all
so
of you.
much.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Loved that.
That was cool. That was fun.
Thank you for getting him on the show, Leslie. That was fantastic.
All right, well, that's our episode for today. Thank you for listening. And as always, we want to remind you to keep making those requests to radio stations. I know it may not seem like it, but it really does matter. I think right now, Lovejoy's Pay and Display is number 43 on the charts. If we can get into that top 40, that would be amazing. So check out our website, lvjynation.com. You'll see Angie's amazing comprehensive list of radio stations and contact information so you can make requests. And as always, you can comment the heck out of their social media pages because they do see that as well. Every little bit helps, as Vinny told us in the recent episode. So again, by the time this goes out, we may have a new album. And the next episode will be digging deep on that.
It's great.
Dave is chomping at the bit, and he's absolutely chuffed at the same time. So thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.